Welcome back to Wembley Arena here in London, and Game 3 between SKT and AHQ. Gonna jump right into this. Let's remember that these teams are swapping back to their original sides. Blue for SKT, red for AHQ. So I kind of want to re-hit the pick ban because we've seen so often that the red side is on, you know, the sorry end of the ban side, in which they can only ban out one champion other than Mord and GP. SKT though, threw that curious Mord ban out the first time around.
Yeah, and then they ended up getting an Azir and a Ryze ban on their side. I feel like SKT, you shouldn't ban the Mord. You should just let them ban the Mord, make them have only one ban. And I feel like that was just a little, like...
It's a mind game.
It's a mind game, right? Like, maybe they'll do it next time, maybe they won't, I don't know.
It's like, look, we can beat you so hard, we're gonna ban the champions for you. That's the kind of style, and then they're thinking like, wow, that's very offensive. You're getting into our heads.
Yeah, do they go with Azir? Do they go with Ryze? I think that's the biggest one for me with their one ban. I think Ryze is more dangerous right now.
Yeah. Well, a small take on picks and bans from us. We're going to throw it over to Shox and crew to get some more insight before the game.
Yeah, because of course we also want some more insight from especially Clement, because it's looking dire right now for AHQ. When you look at the picks and bans coming out of Game 2, we did see the Tristana coming out, but as you pointed out, that early game pressure wasn't able to come out. What's the next step for AHQ? They're truly with their backs against the walls.
I feel like AHQ has that Japanese anime dynamic to them. They only have one skill, and a lot of times the bad guy's gonna punish them, and they're gonna be like, why are you keep on using that one skill? But that's all they have, that's all they know. I think they're just gonna go on at it, and hopefully it's gonna work better this time.
Yeah, the thing is, especially in Game 2, it really showed the level of skill the SK Telecom players. So to me, there's a mark of a truly amazing player, and it's when they react perfectly to a situation they've never been in before. Like, a good team or a great team can do a lane swap perfectly, and they can prep a dragon correctly because you put wards down in the right spots, and it's generally easy for worlds of this caliber. But when Marin sees a dive and goes through the Tristana, and gets out, and Faker TP's the right time to catch a Darius. When SKT plays so ridiculously well with the lead, where they never get caught out if they do flashes up because they get caught so rarely, and yet they're always behind you somehow. SKT as individual players are so remarkably smart about this game. When it comes to the mid game, it's almost impossible to get it past.
And on top of everything that we had seen already with the 6-0 group stage, Faker really had a fantastic game as well. Last game on Ryze, where he went 7-0 on Ryze, a 10 KDA. And it's just adding to all of the troubles for HQ right now, even though that was a lane matchup that they didn't expect to win. Krubs was saying in the post-game that HQ needs to try and pick good lane matchups for a change and stay in those lanes. What do you think? Do they have the individual skill, maybe aside from mid lane, because we know that that might go south, to make that work?
I think the big thing here is that if they can play a bit more proactively, they've been really on the back step for most of these games. I think going back to the normal EU-style lanes might help them. Like, I think a Mountain has last time at MSI, he did very well at snowballing that bot lane. That's really what they're banking on. SKT might try to punish them top lane, but they just gonna have to take that trade. It's kind of like the EDG situation. See if they can just penetrate the bot lane.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think it's on Mountain. I think it's on targeting a lane that's going to work out. At some point in pick and ban, you can guarantee yourself a counter pick lane and a good aggressive jungler because they're not getting targeted that heavily. Mountain's getting something good no matter what. So finding one place to pressure, hoping this setup works and getting that one guy ahead. I mean, it is a tall task for AHQ, but a seed of the game, like in the early game, and you hope to grow that into a victory tree.
We'll see what happens. As you have, of course, read all the comments as well. How are AHQ going into this matchup? Had they foreseen that this might possibly happen, and what was their mindset?
Well, I think that they knew that this was going to be a Herculean task. It's going to be very hard for them to win, but they're looking at Season 2. They're looking at TPA as their kind of inspiration. If we're here to win it all, it doesn't matter who we're going to face in this quarterfinals. We just have to go past them.
Yeah, they have to turn it on, but Freak, maybe finally, before we go into the game, SKT looking unstoppable.
I mean, really, that's kind of the case. You mentioned Herculean task. I mean, right now, HQ up against the Hydra. If they knock off one head, there's still two more they have to take down before they can ever actually win this matchup. The reverse sweep can happen, but the odds are, of course, incredibly slim because SKT just are so incredibly good as a team.
Well, we're going to go ahead and head into game 3, but before we go, we're going to listen to Marin as he talks about coming into this matchup as the absolute favorites.
지금 부담감이 없다고는 말 못하겠고요. 지금까지 SK T1이 우승도 여러 차례 했고 롤드컵도 이미 한 번 우승했기 때문에 그런 시선을 받는다고 생각하는데 그것 때문에 더 열심히 하게 되는 것 같아요. 부담감은 조금 그렇게 심하진 않고 조금 있는 것 같아요. 그 부담감 때문에 오히려 더 좋게 성적이 나오는 걸 수도 있어요.
I think it's way more than possible. I think it's fact. This team shows up time and time again. And like the interview lounge was mentioning, Freak in particular, 3 heads, 3 threats on the side of SKT, and nobody can stop them.
It's been tough, and they haven't had, again, they didn't have the toughest group. They didn't have the toughest quarterfinal draw. We can say that pretty confidently. But even under those conditions, they still have yet to drop a game.
The problem with this team is whenever you watch a good team perform, you at least can find some weaknesses. You're like, okay, if you punish them this way, then you tend to fall behind. I've yet to really find an exploitable weakness in SKT that they just can't even master themselves.
Well, and not only that, but it's about the draft phase, right? They have not really shown much that they didn't show in the group stage. It's still just the Rise mid coming through. They're seeing picks that we've seen from them before. So even if you can identify a weakness, they have many more strategies they can play that they haven't shown yet to cover it up.
And then you cover all of that with the fact they can easily swap out players, prepare a new strategy off air, and challenge that. Easyhoon has said in interviews a couple times, played 2 group games, that he wants to prove his worth. Jinx and Diana taken away from AHQ. Azia and GP taken away from SKT, and another blue side Mord ban. SKT going against the grain on that Mordekaiser.
This is one of those times with the Azir ban that you really wonder about AHQ, because coming in, I think this is the 28th game in a row that AHQ has had to ban Azir because Westdoor simply can't play it. And that's a massive hole in your champion pool in the current meta.
You can't come to a World Championship not being able to play one of the meta picks. It's just simply not possible. Last year, every sport should have been able to play Zillion, Alistar, Janna too.
And we'll find out if it's going to hurt AHQ. This is potentially their last game of the World Championship, and Elvis will get Thresh once more.
Yeah, complete mirror from game 1 in terms of picks, at least. It's coming out, at least first pick, because obviously that's the way the bans went down. Thresh Kalista comes down. This is where SKT1 initially went for a Tristana combination. They could actually get a less mobile AD carry and just pick Tom Kench to solve that problem.
Right, remember the Rise was banned in game 1. It was the Lulu in the second game, so Tristana Lulu was the draft Faker.
I swear that's a grin.
Faker initiates smile.exe.
It's super effective, and for SKT, will at the last second swap over to Tristana. Not going to go for that low mobility AD carry. Instead, get the tower pushing power. Tristana will offer, and all the safety Tom Kench brings to the table as well.
Yeah, Tristan to Kalista is just probably the textbook counter right now, and if you play the game well enough, like SKT1 does, it is probably the best pick. Bang even, like, he faced like a couple of brushes. That's the only mistake SKT have really made this tournament.
You look at the player cams, AHQ just look defeated already.
The Rek'Sai lock again. The Diana pick was the one here from HQ, but this time they have no inkling about what that mid laner is going to be. And Westdoor throughout the group stage was very confident in blind picking certain champions like Fizz. Diana's banned out this time, so the Fizz coming in, he's going to go out like he came in, I guess.
7 seconds.
He looks
Grimace
agonized by this pick, but there's the lock.
Let's take a look. That lock, is that locking the door closed behind you or unlocking the door in front of you?
Probably asking in team chat, any mid mains here? Anyone? Wanna play mid? Multi-role talent.
For SKT, they need to lock in their solo laners, and this will give Ziv the opportunity to counter pick. However, Ziv has just run Darius as a very last pick, almost entirely. Need to see where he's going to go with that option.
Very curious what he's going to lock in here. A bunch of assassins hovered over by Bang as they decide Haven't seen a lot of Kassadin this tournament yet, but does have good survivability up against Fizz.
Played once or twice if memory serves. Marin will get his hands on Fiora, so double assassin comp from SKT, no traditional frontline, and you've got all the safety of Tahm Kench.
Well, very low wave clear, but they don't see the Tristana, they don't see the Jinx on the side of AHQ. They have the Trist, so there's not a lot of pushing power right now. So SKT is pivoting this game. They see the Fizz come out. They're saying, well, you can't fast push us. We don't need the wave clear. We will simply play your game and beat you at the skirmish game.
If AHQ don't get a damage source from their top lane, they could just run out of damage as the fight plays on. Ziv gonna go with Darius once more. Another last rotation Darius pick into the Fiora up top to round out AHQ's team composition.
Yeah, just full on skirmish mode. No wave clear, probably the lowest amount of wave clear we've seen in the entirety of Worlds. If you combine all champions here, just full on skirmish and very snowbally either way. So in that sense, if AHQ gets ahead, they can start punishing SKT, but
I feel like I've heard that before, Crepo.
yeah, but what else are you gonna say? I mean, come on.
Yeah, and it has to happen with Faker. Faker's the one playing with the TP here. We saw him play with Ignite and Westor with the TP in the first game. They are going to have the higher mobility. Faker doesn't have the most experience on Kassadin. This will only be his 8th professional game on the champion, but he is 5-2 so far.
And again, Wolf bringing out the exhaust to just deny some of that damage. Really good against Fizz because you can get it in as he's dashing in, prevent some damage there. You can deny some dunks, and just with the Devour again, you can just, once the target's bleeding, you can deny the dunks simply by just eating your ally. And we need to see if HQ can finally start playing around this Tahm Kench, because Wolf, he almost carried that last game as a support, just with a denial.
I definitely want to see the interaction where Wolf on that Tahm Kench eats a target that's been hit by Chum the Waters. And see what happens to that giant Oof. We do see the team compositions, guys, on your screen for potentially the last time for AHQ. It's 2-0 in favor of SKT, and Faker is running the second Kassadin of the World Championship. It's game 3 and possibly the last of the day. Jump on Twitter, let us know who you think will win.
And this first Kassadin was actually played by Pawn against H2K, and I didn't like the pick there because I thought it could have been punished very hard because EDG did take a lot of low wave clear. They made it work in the early game and they ended up taking a victory there. But this time around, I feel the Kassadin pick is very, very safe for SKT because AHQ simply does not have the tools to punish it.
Yeah, in the laning phase itself, you just want to get that Q out as Westor's charging at you to deny that initial damage. Westor obviously wants to use Playful and Tracer to deny most of Faker's damage, so it's a very skill-heavy matchup. And a lot of auto-attack trading in minions will decide how that lane goes. Hook goes wide here, so Albus started with Hook. Bank did not get caught, and that's a 50-50 though. Any point in that brush, Bank could have technically gotten caught there.
Cheating up towards the top side though, because the Hook is usually thrown through the bottom part of that brush, and
perfect synergy here. It's like synchronized diving.
That's the deepest ward we've had in the early game before laning phases started, and I think both times AHQ have been able to initiate the lane swap. It doesn't look like they want that this time around.
Maybe our first time here with standard lanes in this series. So we've got that coming in here as both of the dual lanes start on the bottom side.
Crowd cheering for Fallen. Remembrance Day.
It's just a eulogy, you know.
Eulogy?
The eulogy is coming when SKT's next match happens, bro.
Hopefully it doesn't happen tomorrow. All the fans in-house. But Mirror starts once again, except on the side of AHQ. Their top and junglers starting on the Krugs up top.
You can see Westor, he's actually starting Playful Trickster because he knows if he trades into Faker with Q, he will lose his trade anyway, so he just wants to dodge the damage and do return damage with that Playful Trickster. But then he has to be careful of trading in melee range.
A bit of a different start this time. They don't give Aldous the level 2, instead just sharing that experience as they know that 2-on-2 is going to be coming. Ziv hits level 2, same as Marin, and both will simply walk into that lane.
Take an early burst of damage as Wolf hits Albus for a couple of autos. Death Sentence finds the Catfish, but I'm not really sure. I'm gonna jump in there. No grey health means that will hurt Wolf for a little while.
Yeah. It's a good trade there from AHQ overall. Waited for Albus level 2, he's now level 2. Bang wastes his explosive charge on minions. This could be opening up for a trade here. Look at Albus, he knows, because that's why he's walking forward.
Flay hits, Death Sentence follows, and Wolf just breaks the chain. The sounds, Trevor.
Well, who needs to trade when you can just eat your AD carry and keep pushing the minion wave with explosive shot, Crepa?
Morin in a straight-up lane, winning early level 2. Gents, we're not over yet. Albus, he really wants to go in. The flashed play. Death Sentence will get interrupted because Wolf will eat bang on. Bashes defensively backwards. There are teleports available if someone wants to play. Wolf is low. He's got a bunch of stacks and the rend comes out. Albus is stunned. Here comes Faker. He's going to look for the first kill of the game. He should get it. Null Spear. Auto attack for bang. First blood, SKT.
Yeah, and every time Bang gets eaten by Wolf, what ends up happening is just a flail of fish. Just one target gets hit, and then you can't get the AD carry. That hook just went wide. He completely got put in the mouth of the Tahm Kench and just gets denied.
That's why you need the Blitzcrank. Get the hook in there so that they can actually just pull him right out, pull him to you. Instead, it is the natural counter, just like in real life.
Fortunately, it didn't work for Afromoon. We saw him playing Blitz in the group stages. This is your Bang and on stats, Tristana versus Kalista. But what a great positive use of teleport at level 3. Something we did not see from Westor in the 2 previous games.
And this is what's so good about this matchup coming in, is because Faker has the freedom. There's virtually no punishment from that. The Fizz can't get the tower damage down. He's not going to do anything in the early game. So you have total autonomy to make teleport plays on the bottom side. And when you commit like that, like Albus did, with the flash coming in, you have to expect that Faker's going to show up.
And the one game that Westor opts to not play teleport, he actually goes for Ignite. Bot lane skirmish happens. His mid laner that he's supposed to beat them 1v1 gets a free assist, goes back to lane, and then picks up the wave. So his Ignite's already being somewhat nullified right here. So things just getting worse here for HQ.
Difficult start in Game 3 of this series. Let's see a moment ago in terms of the items. Pickaxe already picked up there for Bang with his first blood gold. Against the longsword of Art. This is going to make a very difficult lane for a matchup that was already in favor of SKT.
SKT looking calm and collected on the cams right now as I think they're sorting out an issue with Wolf's PC.
Yep. Client issue on Wolves should be resolved quickly. Get back into the game so you can keep eating Bang every single time. You'd think they'd learn though, after like 2 games of Tahm Kench, it was a nice flash and flame, then you can't go for that hook. You know Devour's coming.
Somewhere backstage, Kobe is pulling his hair out. He's the most excited Tahm Kench caster off air, and he's not had a single game yet. Very depressing, sad times for Kobe. But
Way to rub it in, quick shot.
For Wolf, I just gotta get it in there, just throw some of that salt out. But for Wolf, Monty, despite having no competitive professional experience, showing a great master of the champion, great synergy with the rest of his team, and decision-making, when to use those ultimates, when to devour the respective teammates.
Well, and that was one of the questions coming into this tournament too. After MSI, after Wolf's last performance on the international stage, indeed his first actual performance on the international stage, because SKTS never competed internationally, was he going to have an issue with nerves? Because he really didn't play up to form when he was in Tallahassee. But here he's on a new champion. Remember that his first time playing Nautilus support was in Game 5 versus EDG. Comes here again in a pressure situation with a new pick, and he is delivering.
Okay, Mountain and Albus pathed together to the right side of mid, because Westor, instead of doing a fast push, which he can't because he's Fizz, actually put up a bit of a freeze to deny CS from Faker. He's now 7 CS up, and there's an additional 6 CS extra in that wave that's coming towards Westor, so you can actually get significantly far ahead. Mountain's pathing in right now. Well, Faker knows, though.
It's a party in the mid lane. Mountains here, Wolves here, Bengi's nearby. Even Albus had moved up into the river. They're still taking far too much damage, forced to back away, and this wave should reset slowly in the next few minutes back towards Faker.
He's trying to deny as much as he can, though, while Westor is going back. Mountain is just pinned to this mid lane right now, trying to keep the wave off the turret. So SKT just buying a lot of information, a lot of time right now.
Yeah, HQ just going too far in that freeze. Sometimes you sacrifice too much trying to preserve it, and then Faker actually ends up 2v1ing here. In the top lane, we see a beautiful counter here from Aaron on that Darius spin.
Yeah, nice riposte, and we've talked about this matchup being very good for Fiora because you have the riposte and you have the dash to get out of the decimate as well.
And back up for Morin as well. Bengi's sticking in that tri-bush.
There he goes. Bengi's pathing so far in this tournament has been fantastic. Find himself behind Ziv again.
Marin's even flashed for this one. Bengi's moving forward, holds the cocoon until it's point blank and undodgeable. Another kill to SKT. Westor does not have chum the waters and not going to be able to do anything to fake it in.
I really like the way Bengi played that because he waited. He knew that Ziv's flash was still up. So he was waiting. There were two conditions he was waiting for. One, Ziv flashes, he cocoons him afterwards. Two, he gets low enough that they can kill him during the cocoon duration. And we have some... Wow.
Fake is going to get killed. Westor follows the flash. May not survive. One more hit. The melee minions chasing, and Westor wins the 1v1.
Didn't even follow the flash. He predicted the flash right there. Fantastic fist play overall here. Because Faker flashed very late. He didn't instant panic flash. He waits for Westor to almost land, and Westor just predicted that this is going to happen, so solid play.
Has the potion ticking too, but nicely done by Westor.
I predict a slow-mo zoom in from our observers.
Ignite right there.
My prediction not as good as Westor.
Really nice. Really nice stuff from Westor. And that's why he's one of the few players who has the balls to blind pick that Fizz.
Need to see if it'll work out for him. Mountain's going to come up to this top lane, show face. Marin has got access to Grand Challenge. Ziv, not yet level 6. That down in CS. So Westor, flash burned, ignite burned, and a small CS advantage. We need to see if he can continue to snowball that lead, whereas Faker's TP, very close, 25% of the cooldown left, and then Faker may look to impact those side lanes.
Well, here we go. I know how this story ends.
Yeah, they've learned a lesson. Oh, it's such a disgusting matchup for Thresh. It's like you don't want to focus Wolf because he has great health, and then you don't want to focus AD carry because you'll end up in his belly anyway. So what do you even do in this matchup?
Lose mana thrown hooks.
You see him farming relatively well. Apprehend gets pulled back onto Marin. Ziv has got Noxian Guillotine and Flash. Might was up, and Marin again at this stage will get pushed away. Spawn will be happy to see the matchup playing out exactly as described on the analyst desk.
Nice displaceful trickster right there. He really knows the limits. He's 2 levels up on Faker right now, so feeling very confident and doing quite well in this lane so far. Oh! Ooh.
Ziv flashed for that one.
Just took a turret shot, so Marin's gonna back off. Mountain has to be careful.
You saw Bengi earlier. He was dueling vision on Bengi though. Goes in on Marin though.
Not enough. Marin manages to survive. Bengi's now going to look for Mountain. Finds a cocoon. Has the support of the minions. Westor was roaming. But not going to get in range. Mountain's going to back away.
Yeah, there's no counterplay to that yet because SK Telecom has started to lose this mid lane battle. So they can't really play aggressively around this Westor. That level up again, and he's going in with a fish.
He's get some good damage down, but doesn't follow through with anything more. He's stoned or playful trickster. Westor's increasing at CS difference, plus 13 as we're getting close